governors are meant to be neutral, but today two governors and a lieutenant governor appointed by the BJP-led centre are being accused of politicising a constitutional post. In Puducherry, a clash between Lieutenant Governor Kiran Bedi and Chief Minister has escalated over 3 appointments in the government. Not only have the Bengal governor, meanwhile, and Chief Minister clashed very publicly and bitterly over the handling of communal violence near Kolkata, but the Tripura governor, former BJP leader from Bengal, is also weighed in on that clash. Well, before I introduce my special panel on this, I'm now joined on the phone line by the Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry, Kiran Bedi. Thanks very much, ma'am, for taking out time to speak to us. First up, ma'am, the immediate provocation, and we know that the relationship between you and the Chief Minister has been rocky, but to use a cliche, it seems to have hit rock bottom. The immediate provocation, ma'am, of course, is the swearing in of these 3 people as MLAs, even as there was a petition in court against this happening. Now, your critics are saying that you've done this basically to ensure that the BJP gets a foothold in the assembly. Ma'am, how do you respond?
No, not at all. Your assumption is wrong. They've been legally appointed by the central government. They're authorized under the Union Territory Act. Once they've been notified, when the authorities that be deterred and were evasive in swearing in these 3 MLAs, when they gave their petition in writing to me, and there were many other circumstances, I swore them in. I've done my duty. It was my responsibility then to intervene. So for doing my duty, I do not owe anybody any explanation.
Fair enough, ma'am. But as you can imagine, this comes after repeated face-offs that we've been seeing between you and Chief Minister soon after that you took over. Of course, it began on the cancelling those circulars on the use of social media and so on. Many are asking, is the governor now increasingly playing a political role? Is political affiliation overshadowing constitutional duty, ma'am?
I think, unfortunately, in their imagination and in their world of imagination, they wanted a non-functional lieutenant governor. What they have is a duty-performing, responsible and accountable lieutenant governor who's following the letter of the law and the business rules. I'm following the rules and regulations to the T, and they are the ones who are violating the instructions of the Ministry of Home Affairs repeatedly. The Ministry of Home Affairs have repeatedly told the Chief Minister to follow the rules and regulations. It is he who is violating. He is the one who's challenging the Ministry of Home Affairs directions. The legal clarity has been repeatedly on his request coming to the Chief Minister. Okay. He is the one who's been questioning it again and again, not me.
Ma'am, one last question. There are those who are asking for your recall this evening. Is stepping down even an option on the table at the moment?
Well, he wanted me back the very first day when 10 months ago the entire cabinet came to my office and said, but madam, we expected you to be a rubber stamp or a ceremonial head. I said, no, I know my rules and regulations. I'm duty bound to follow them unless you get them changed. The point here is they were not used to a functional lieutenant governor. It's their problem, not mine. As long as I'm in Pondicherry, I'm responsible for my acts of omission and commission. I do not enjoy any legal immunity as full-fledged governors do. Therefore, my non-performance is also equally liable. Therefore, I am following the rules and regulations. If others have a problem, that's not my problem.
If others have a problem, well, it's their headache, not mine. Question, of course, is what Kiran Bedi is implying of stepping down. I'm doing no wrong, she insists. Thanks very much, ma'am, for taking our time to speak to us this evening. Let me introduce my panel on this big story to you right away. I'm joined by Rakesh Sinha, RSS ideologue, Mahua Moitra, spokesperson of the Trinamool Congress, Pawan Khera, spokesperson with the Congress, and Aarti Jairath, senior journalist. A conversation, in fact, with Aarti first sowed the seeds, really, of this discussion tonight. Well, let me go across to you, Mahua Moitra. There are those, of course, who are seeing this very bitter and public clash that the Chief Minister of Bengal is having with the governor. We just heard from one governor involved in a similar clash with the Chief Minister of her state. But in Bengal, they're saying that this is just a diversionary tactic and an attempt by the Trinamool to take away attention and the spotlight from the real law and order crisis as the state is up in flames. How do you respond, ma'am?
Look, I think the governor of Bengal is an RSS pracharak and has been the BJP president of the state of Uttar Pradesh. So I don't think his secular credentials or sort of his objectivity is kind of staring at us in the face. That's the first thing. So the BJP has taken the constitutional post of a governor and transformed it into a complete RSS shaka, if I may say so. Let me give you two examples. You had Tathagata Rai, who is a BJP leader in Bengal. He was a BJP leader in Bengal. He was rewarded with the governorship of Tripura. He now spends his time tweeting and putting out inflammatory Facebook posts on the situation in Bengal, a state from which he is not responsible and it's no business interfering with. That's the first thing. The second thing, our current governor has been writing letters to the chief minister. In the letter, on his official letterhead of the governor, he encloses memorandums which have been sent by the state BJP. He's even enclosing those memorandums along with his official letter to the chief minister and saying, Madam, can you look into this? Do you think these are the actions of an objective governor? And let me point out one hilarious thing to you, Natasha. Today, the state BJP president Rahul Sinha actually said on record, he says, do you think the Trinamool is going to get away by browbeating the governor? He is a Shoinik of the Modi Bahini, which translated in English means he is a soldier of Mr. Modi's army. So you have no one else but the state BJP president putting on record that the governor is a loyal soldier of the Modi government. So I think the integrity of the governor is in question, his objectivity is in question. Okay. So the question of sort of, the post of the governor being above board and being the guardian of the constitution is laughable in this case.
Okay. R.K. Sinha, sir, come in at this stage. If we just focus on Bengal for a bit, the governor is said to have made that call to ensure law and order immediately after a BJP and RSS delegation had met with him at Raj Bhavan, sir. Is that just a coincidence, you think?
You are asking me?
Yes, sir.
Natasha, you are asking me? Look, post of governor is a constitutional position. Before making any allegation, you have some substantive evidence. Mamata Banerjee used a foul language that Kesari Nath Tripathi has been using, is acting as a block president of a party. But she had not spelled what language he spoke, which hurt her. If anything wrong governor used, any foul language governor used, she could have approached the President of India, because this is some kind of protocol she should maintain. I think in Bengal the administration is not under her control, police is not under her control. In Bengal Hindus are being treated as second-rate citizens. There is a communal rights, unabated communal rights in Bengal, and the fringe elements are not under the control of the police and administration. That's why this is a diversionary tactics of Mamata Banerjee. Unfortunately, left parties and Congress are supporting the Mamata's demand. Let me complete. They have forgotten that Ramesh Bhandari has misused the governor's house in Uttar Pradesh, Ramlal in Himachal Pradesh. There are umpteen examples. Left parties have opposed Dharmveera in Bengal in 1967-69, but there is no substantive allegation against anyone. As far Kesari Nath Tripathi is concerned, everybody knows that he is a very decent person. He always uses decent language, and I correct Mahua that he is not a RSS pracharak. Kindly understand, if you are criticizing some organization, you should know the nuance of that organization. Without knowing the nuance of the organization, any language you can use for anyone, this is not correct in democracy.
Okay. Pravan Khera, the problem with discussing the role of the governor is always it comes back to the Congress and Indira Gandhi and how the abuse, as it's called, of the governor's office began then. So nobody really has their hands clean.
Let's assume they're right in accusing us. We lost the election, perhaps because of various mistakes of ours. Why are they repeating our mistakes, I ask them. Why can't they be different, as they kept claiming that they'd be different? Look at what Mridula Sinha, Honorable Governor of Goa, did when there was after the elections during the government formation. Look at what Mrs. Najma Heptullah did in Manipur during government formation. Look at what the Governor of Arunachal Pradesh or Uttarakhand do. But tell me, in Saharanpur, the governor didn't feel the urge to call the chief minister, summon him and tell him to pull up his socks and control the riots. So why is it that governors appointed by the BJP, where there are non-BJP governments, only those governors get very active, hyperactive? Look at Mrs. Kiran Bedi, what she's up to there. Not just this, there are several examples of Dr. Bedi being a very, very interventionist kind of a governor who really crosses all her limits and interferes in day-to-day functioning of every department, summoning the chief secretary, summoning the secretaries without taking the MLAs into consideration. She goes to their areas. Now, there is a decorum also. And the government, the act under which the Puducherry government functions is very, very clear. The words aid and advise are very, very clear there. They cannot be ignored. So, I am sorry, this is very, very unfortunate that all these governors chosen by this government are overstepping their limits. They are very interventionist,
so historically
and also disturbing not just the governments, they are disturbing the peace of those states.
Okay. Very quickly, Rakesh, and I'll let you respond to that very quickly.
No, I am giving one example. Sri Ramnath Kovind ji is now presidential candidate. He was governor of Bihar. Just see what Nitish Kumar said about him. So kindly don't treat governor's house as a political party's fiefdom. So governor is not a political party member. Once he is appointed, he just performs his constitutional duty.
But those in the Raj Bhavan need to be mindful of that. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Sinha?
Asking Mamata Banerjee to control communal. No, what can you give me substantive evidence that Raj Bhavan has been used for a partisan purpose? Can you give one example? If governor has transcended the constitutional limit, give me one example without any evidence. Because you fail to criticize Narendra Modi, you fail to criticize RSS, BJP. Now people are not buying your criticism. Now the last resort and the frustration of the opposition party is to create a controversy around the governor. You are not concerned about the people who are dying in West Bengal. You are not concerned that Bengal is being polarized between two communities. But you are concerned about the governor's house. What governor has done? Can you give me one example? The language he used. Can Mamata spell to the people what language he used?
Okay.
She can't say.
So despite all these examples on the table, there's talk, of course, of Puducherry, of
around the governor's house,
Bengal, Goa. Okay, you're saying that's just not enough. More concrete evidence needed. Mahua?
Yeah, can I come back to counter that, please? You have, when you're talking about the governor of Bengal coming in, can I remind Mr. Sinha that the worst, he's telling us about communal riots and the governor reminding us of law and order. Can I remind him of one thing, since he seems to be pulling up a lot from history? In 1992, we saw the worst riots in the past 25 years in the history in India, in Godhra, in Gujarat, where the current Prime Minister was Chief Minister. 1,962 people died, 2,500 were injured. This was the official toll. The governor at that point was a RSS pracharak called Sundar Singh Bhandari. The governor at that point did not even give a special report to the Ministry of Home Affairs, lest it indict the Narendra Modi government. So please don't tell us, this is laughable when you sit there, Mr. Sinha, and tell us that the post of the governor is not a political appointee. It is absolutely laughable. The current governor in West Bengal has done absolutely nothing.
What he wants to communicate.
Sir, can I finish?
Rakesh Sinha, Mahua, just give me 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute. I'm joined on the phone line by Mr. Narayanaswamy, the Chief Minister of Puducherry. Thanks so much, sir, for speaking to us. Now, we were speaking to the Lieutenant Governor of the state, Kiran Bedi, just a short while back, and she's very firm that she's done absolutely no wrong. There's been no constitutional violation as she is concerned. In fact, as she told us that it's their problem if they have an issue with it. But I'm very clear, I have done no wrong.
In fact, I saw in the NDTV the Lieutenant Governor telling that they want a non-functional Lieutenant Governor. It is absolutely wrong. In fact, as a government in Puducherry, we are not like Delhi. Delhi government, law and order, services and finance is with the government of India. As far as the Puducherry is concerned, the land, law and order, services, and everything is with the government of Puducherry. Madam Lieutenant Governor thinks that she is the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi. In fact, we never violated any rule. I challenge her today whether we violated any rule for the last 1 year when our Congress DMK government in Puducherry. She is totally telling non-issue. She is telling that she is telling which is not true.
Right, sir. Now we know that there have, of course, also been demands of her being recalled. Interestingly, you're not supporting that.
About what?
There are demands that she should be recalled, but you haven't really supported that.
No. My party has already given a stand that she should be recalled.
Okay.
She is not acting as the administrator. Puducherry, though the lieutenant governor, there is an administrator. Administrator is not a constitutional post. In fact, under Chapter 3, Chapter 4, Chapter 5 of the business rules is very clear. Chapter 3, state subject, the lieutenant governor, the administrator has to act on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. That is state list. Concurrent list, she has to act in consultation with the chief minister. Central list, it goes to the government of India. She has no independent power. She is telling that she is a functional lieutenant governor. Whether any lieutenant governor or even the governor calls the video conference, whether the review meeting of the officers, whether going to the field visit and issuing direction without the knowledge of the chief minister and ministers, she is violating all the rules and norms, and she is telling our government is violating the norms. It is absolutely wrong.
Okay, there's clearly been an escalation which there, but let's see how this plays out. Mr. Narayanasamy, Chief Minister of Puducherry, thank you so much for your time, sir, this evening. Aarti, you look up governor's post in qualified, non-partisan and above politics. But ironically, and this is of course not blame any one party, this is how it's been historically, and we've been debating it and talking about it. There have also been the focus on do we need the governor's position at all. That's also been debated, but nothing really changes.
I know. In fact, the Constituent Assembly, actually debated this whole business of governors. And at one point, apparently, they were wondering whether the governor should be elected. And then they decided you can't have two elected top posts in the state, since we have a parliamentary model of, democracy here in India. So they decided that the governor should be appointed. Now, the point is that the governor is a representative of the president in the center, in the state. And, he acts on the advice of the cabinet, just like the president, of the country acts on the advice of the union cabinet. If a governor is worried or concerned about a certain situation that is broken out in a state, like presumably the governor of West Bengal was worried about what was happening in Basirhat, obviously he has a right to be worried. But, his role is not to pick up the phone and ring up the chief minister. I don't know what language he used or what language he didn't use, because we are not privy to that conversation. But I think the very act of him picking up the phone and speaking directly to the chief minister was a wrong one. He should have either sent a report to the center, to the Union Home Ministry, where he actually is supposed to, in coordination with whom he's supposed to function. He should have sent a report expressing his concern, or he should have got his secretariat to speak to the State Home Ministry and find out what's happening, what is being done. But I do not think it was right for him to ring up the chief minister directly.
Okay, Rakesh.